All right, today we're starting our unit on circles, so we're going to begin with just some vocabulary. So we're going to title these notes Basic Terms. Oops. For circles. This is really fat line. All right, so first of all, we need to define what a circle is. And as you guys are taking notes, I want you to make sure that you actually draw a circle, and in the circle, you label all of these things. I'm going to color code to help. So a circle is a set of points equidistant from a point called the center. So center, I'm going to make my circle purple. Make shapes here. Delete. Alright, so here's my center, and this part here is my circle. Alright, next one. Okay, next word is radius. So a radius is the distance from the center to an endpoint on the circle. So this would be a radius here. And there's our center. The next word is diameter. And the diameter is, well, actually let's rewind for a second. The next word we're going to talk about is congruent circles. So congruent circles, as you guys can probably guess, are just circles that are exactly the same size. So that means they have the same radius. Circles that have the same radius. Next is chord. So a chord is a segment with endpoints on the circle. A segment with endpoints on the circle. So on your same circle, you guys can draw this. You don't have to draw a new one, but I'm going to draw a new one. So for example, this is a chord. Okay, the endpoints are here, and they're on the circle, so that makes it a chord. What's the longest chord in a circle? Well, the longest chord in the circle is called the diameter. We're going to define that as a chord that passes through the center. I'll do that in blue. So if this is my center, I could draw a diameter that goes through the center. Okay, so it's a chord, it has endpoints on the circle, and it passes through the center. That makes it a diameter. A secant. A secant is very similar to a chord, except for it doesn't have endpoints, so it's not a line segment, it's a line. So I'm going to say that a secant is a line that intersects a circle in 2 points. I'll do that one in this little dotted pink. So here's my circle. Here is a secant. It's a line, and it intersects in 2 points. So that makes it a secant. A tangent. A tangent. A tangent is, we'll do this in orange. A tangent is a line that intersects a circle at 1 point. So this is an example of a tangent line. Notice the secant touches in 2 spots and the tangent only touches in 1 spot. Next one, we've got point of tangency. Well, point of tangency is just the point where it touches the circle. And I'm just going to draw an arrow there. So there's my point of tangency is right there. So that's basically our circle vocabulary. So we start out with circle. It's a set of points equidistant from a point called the center. The radius is the distance from the center to the end point on the circle. We drew that here in black. Congruent circles have the same radius. A chord is a segment. Notice the difference between chord and secant. A chord's a segment, a secant's a line. It's a segment with 2 endpoints on the circle. A diameter is a chord that passes through the center, so it's the longest chord in the circle. A secant is a line that touches in 2 spots, and a tangent touches in just 1 spot. The point of tangency is that point where the tangent line touches the circle. So now inscribed. Inscribed simply means that one shape is inside of the other and all the vertices touch that shape. So for example, we could say that a square is inscribed in a circle. So here's a circle, and here's our square inside. And notice that all of the vertices are on the circle. So inscribed means that the shape is inside. And the vertices are on the circle. Okay, but it doesn't have to be a circle. A square could be inscribed in other shapes also, but here we're looking at a circle. Circumscribed. So I could say that a square is circumscribed about a circle, and this means that the square is outside the circle and that the circle touches the edges of the square. So that would look like this. Here's my square, and this time we have a circle that touches the edges of the square. So you can say the circle is inscribed in the square, or that the square circumscribes the circle. So circumscribes means that it's outside, and inscribe means that it's inside. And our last vocabulary word is concentric. And concentric means that you have one circle inside of the other and they share the center. So two circles, or more, you could have more than two circles, but two circles that share a center. And I could say this is the center of my purple circle, and I can say it's the center of my green circle. These are concentric circles. So when you look at a dartboard, those are all concentric circles. And that is the end of the notes, and you guys should be able to do that first assignment from the circles unit.